You're the 5, 4, 3.
I'm recording you right now.
Okay, perfect. That's wonderful. You can edit that out. All right. First of all, my name is Darren. I'm your rep. The person taping there is Jess. She'll be your new rep moving forward here for this. But we're like a direct rep for several brands. We'll leave some information for you on that. But Rawbble is what we're talking about today. So, first of all, we'll go into the kibble. Rawbble kibble is something the way they wanted to go with this is they wanted to create a kibble that was as close to raw as they could possibly get. Obviously, it's still a kibble. There's nothing coated raw or anything like that on it. But what they do is they do fresh meat and no meal within this product. Meal's not a horrible thing, right? Meal has a place in some of the foods that you sell in your store. It creates a good price point. But at the end of the day, by the time meal gets into a kibble, it's been cooked about 3 times. So there's not a lot of nutritional value to having meal within the food. It's there to kind of prop up your protein level within the food. So what we wanted to make sure is that things that are in the bag are actually nutritionally available for the body so that they can digest it well. Digestion is kind of a big thing that they talk about that not a lot of other kibbles are going to talk about, but it's an important thing to think about. So with Rawbble kibble, if you want to take a look at some of these bags, I'll give you guys one to look at. You'll see it's going to be a limited ingredient diet. As you see, there's not a lot of ingredients compared to a lot of the other kibbles that you're going to have on the market. So it's going to be great for those fussy dogs that don't. It's very palatable, so they're not going to. Dogs that don't really do well with eating any type of food or anything like that are really going to like the taste of it. But it's going to be a high digestibility. I know that you'll see the peas and lentils on there. I know that's a big thing with legumes lately. A lot of people who understand the nutrition in pet food, they're going to see those high up in that ingredient deck and think, okay, they're using that to prop up their protein. We're actually not doing that. The peas and lentils in there are actually used as a great fiber source within that. We're actually starting with a lot of meat in that. So 60 to 70% of your protein is coming from animal source within this bag. So we're not relying on those legumes for that. So the people are coming in because of that study. Where they're talking about, well, I can't have a grain-free diet anymore because I heard that legumes are really bad for them. We're not relying on that for protein, so there's not a lot of legumes in here. The other side of it, if you want to get very technical about it, the myosin and cysteine, which are the 2 compounds within a dog that create taurine, where there's AFCO standards for that. We're anywhere from 36 to 179% above those standards. So again, their dog's not going to have any trouble creating that taurine within their body with this type of food. It's a very high meat content with this diet, so not relying on those legumes for that. Your fiber content is going to be the same across all the different meals or all the different proteins, right? So it's actually going to have seamless rotation. So if they're, God forbid you happen to be out of a chicken one day and someone's like, I really need chicken, you can tell them, hey, you can try the duck as long as they don't have a duck allergy, but you don't have to do a transition onto it because of the fact that that fiber content is going to be the same. If your dog has a lot of digestive issues or they have a sensitive stomach, still do the transition period. But for the most part, they shouldn't have to do that with this food because it's a seamless rotation. So limited ingredient diet, it's grain-free, potato-free, high-protein diet.
So these are single protein?
Single protein, yep.
Okay.
Right, so that's great, again, for those fussy dogs that can't deal with certain types of allergies, or they have certain allergies and stuff like that. You should be able to help them out with the different proteins that we have. Other side of this, so I talked about digestion, and that's a big thing that we want to talk about with this. It's very high digestive. So you talk about raw food. Raw food is going to be your highest digestibility. It's going to have about a 95% digestibility rate. Your lowest end, somewhere like Walmart foods.
When you say digestible, sorry
for
interrupting. When you say digestibility, you mean what exactly?
Basically, how much their body is taking in, like how much they're pooping out of them, essentially, right?
So
like
how much they're absorbing.
Nutritional value, how much they're absorbing, how much they're actually getting from their food nutritionally, not just something that's a filler that they're pooping out, like what a meal would kind of be. Meal gives a lot of protein, but there's nothing else to it, nutritional value-wise. So with this, like raw food, because it's protein, right, very high meat, you have a 95% digestibility. Your lowest end, like your Walmart foods, we won't name them, but they're going to have, like, I mean, for every, they talk about, one of the Walmart foods is for every 100 pounds you eat, your dog eats, it's pooping out 97 pounds, right? That's disgusting. It's like a 3% essentially digestibility rate. With kibble, with Rawbble kibble, you're at, depending on the protein we're talking about, you're anywhere from 87 or 83.7 to 87.5% digestibility rate. So about 20% higher than your standard kibbles. So it's a very high digestibility. They're getting a lot of nutritional value out of this food. So there's a good reason to feed this, not just because it's a limited ingredient diet, not just because it's grain-free, not just because it's a high protein, but the fact is they're actually getting a nutritional value out of this. You'll notice like their poops, they're still going to poop like it's a kibble, right? It's still going to be, compared to a raw, when you feed a raw diet, right, there's not a lot of poop and it dries out. Whereas with this, you're still going to poop as much as you would with having any other normal kibble, but it's going to dry out like what a raw food would because of the fact that there's not a lot left over. There's no fillers that they're crapping out. Excuse the language, but you know, so it's just a very high digestibility. So there's a lot of benefit to feeding this. I don't know. Have I missed anything, Jessica? Would you add anything to this?
No, other than the one thing about, you know, sometimes people are wondering about like peas, because peas, like their yellow pea is pretty high up on the list, and people are worried, well, when you cook it, is that going to end up, your protein, your animal protein is going to end up falling down the list there? And no, because what they do is if they wanted to spike that protein with pea, they would use pea, like pea protein or powdered pea substance. But when you put, what they're noticing is they're already putting moisture back into the food, so why not put everything fresh in to begin with? So you're getting, and the return's going to be like 70% is going to be animal protein in the food.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and if you want, here, why don't we open one of those? We'll actually show you. So the nice thing with this too is it's extruded, right? It's not baked, but it actually comes out almost like your baked kibbles would. It's a smaller little nugget.
It's extruded.
So there's different ways. You have extrusion and then you have baked. So extrusion, I don't know if you understand that a little bit more. But
extrusions usually at like, sometimes they can be at like higher temperatures. So every time when you think about, you know, whenever you add heat to protein or to anything, you're lessening the nutritional value and the nutritional integrity of the product. So the lower of the heat that you add to it, the more of that nutrition is going to be in the food, essentially.
So what's the difference between an extrusion and the
baked is going to be at a higher.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Oh, okay.
So baked at a higher, extrusion is going to be a lower temperature. These guys, they bake at, I think it's what, 196 degrees?
190, yeah.
190, yeah. Okay. So.
Right, and so like usually with a bake, you can like break it up very easily, and with an extruded, it's a really hard nugget. So this is extruded, but it breaks up like a baked would.
Yeah.
So imagine that being in their stomach. It's good on their digestive system. It's not hard for them to digest and get that value from it. So it's just a good way. If you want to look at it, it's a smaller little nugget as well.
Yeah.
Some of the other things, it's made up in Minnesota. Barrett Pet Food Innovations, a great company. It's a family company. They make some of your other high-end kibbles and raw foods as well. So it's a good family company, not some big, huge corporation that's going to be cutting corners. So just a well-respected.
They make everything with their own.
Yeah, so well, they're not making the meat, obviously, but yeah, that's what they're doing. They're doing the double extrusion, actually. Basically what it was it was a farmer who was helping out some of his friends. I can't remember, was it fertilizer or not fertilizer? It was, he was using extruder for something for farming. Oh gosh, now I can't remember what it was.
I can't remember either.
Anyway, he's helping out some of his farming buddies with it. He bought this dual twin extruder. But he didn't realize when he was looking into it to like help fix it and deal with maintenance on it, he found out basically that he had bought like one of the highest end extruders you would get in the world. And then he found out that it was like really good for pet food as well. So he called his kids. One was a pilot, and his daughter had just finished college. And he's like, "Hey, do you guys want to get in the pet food industry with me?" And they're like, and he explained like the business plan to them. And I'm like, "Yeah, cool, we'll do that." So the daughter went back to school for like pet nutrition. The son quit being a pilot. And so they just created this family company. So it really, it didn't even start as a pet food company originally, but that was years ago. They're now like up and running. They have like a really beautiful facility. Not one of those facilities, like I love Liz talks about this, like it's not like this like flashy facility where they're like trying to show off everything they have and they put all their money into this building and all that. But it's like just a really well done, very like down to earth place that's like very clean and very nicely done. And they're not like putting all their money back and trying to look like this huge corporation. They're definitely looking to build a good, healthy business. So that's one thing we always like, especially being from Minnesota. We like saying Minnesota. So. Any questions on this at all? Have you done the 90-day promo yet on these?
Yes. Is that
the buy one get
yes.
one? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So just letting you know you can do that as well. You probably haven't done all 90 days yet, I would guess.
I don't know. I'll have to double check. I know we did it.
Yeah.
But my brain is failing to remember.
You do Astro?
We're starting it.
Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Good,
So people on the camera, we do we're on Astro, which means that it's a frequent buyer program. Buy 12, get one free. So that's going to be a big one for your customers as well. I know a lot of the other foods do that. So
Yes.
make sure that they're taking advantage of that. It's very easy to do with Astro once you get that up and running.
Buy one, get one free. For kibble only, or
It was, that's what it was, and they'll eventually, I think, do another 30-day program of it. On the small bags, it was buy one, get one free.
okay.
Yeah. That's the kibble. I'm trying to make sure I haven't forgotten anything in here. I think that's it. No meals, limited ingredient, seamless rotation. So that's your kibble. Freeze dried. Freeze dried, actually, probably what I should have started with. This is actually the original part of the Rawbble food line. So they wanted to create, you know, a very first of all, the name Rawbble. This is where it came from. It was raw food that feeds like a kibble. So it's got that scoop and pour, right? It's a little bit harder nugget. It doesn't really powder at the bottom of the bag like a lot of your other raw foods are going to do, which is it's not a total waste, but it's like once you get to the powder, it's hard to measure that. It makes it very frustrating, and it almost feels like a loss to that customer. And it doesn't allow them to like train treat and do types of stuff like that. So that's what they created Rawbble, is they want to make it a little bit harder. It's an HPP freeze dried, but very high protein. 98% meat, bone, and organ for your beef and your chicken, and then your duck and your chicken and salmon are going to be a 95% meat, bone, and organ. So if you want to compare it to like a Stella and Chewy's, which is a great line, we're not knocking on them, but it's what we get compared to the most. It's going to be a higher protein, less carbs, less ingredients, and about 8% cheaper across the board. Not to mention that freeze-dried Rawbble, kibble, or any type of Rawbble is not going to be sold to big box, and is not going to be sold to any of your Chewy's or Amazon. It can be sold online, but only on a store's website, and can only be shipped to that local area, and you have to sign a contract for that. So they very much protect the MAP pricing on this. They're very much trying to protect the independent pet stores and protecting the jobs that we have. Right? I mean, which is fine. Like, I'm not knocking on online. We get it. It's a part of this industry. I sell their products that are sold online. But it's also kind of nice to know it's just an added benefit. Like, this company's actually invested in what we are doing on this store level. So, very high protein on this. Very limited ingredient. So pets that have allergies, this is a great one for. Because of the fact that there's not a lot of fruits or vegetables or anything like that in it that they can have any type of reaction to. You've just learned about raw food, so we know that anytime you can feed any type of raw is a good way to do it. So the nice thing is it's a scoop and pour, so it's very easy to top with and to figure out how much they need to put on. They give you great instructions on the side of the bag as to what to do if you're just supplementing. If it's a big dog, you're probably not going to have them feed it strictly. It is a complete and balanced diet, but if it's a big dog and they're feeding this strictly, I mean, I would like to marry them because they have a lot of money. Yeah, right. So it's not cheap, but it's definitely price point wise going to be better than a lot of your other higher end ones, especially for the quality that you're getting out of this. So smaller dogs you can feed with it or top supplement with. My favorite thing also is the versatility of this. It's a training treat as well. Like we kind of talked about earlier, there doesn't really powder up at the bottom of your bag. You can stick them in those training pockets, especially like the beef and the duck. They tend to be a little bit harder than your chicken and salmon. It's a little bit more flaky.
Break apart too?
You look, yeah, they are easy to break apart. I guess that's yours, so I don't know if you want to bring all of them, but so easy to break apart.
Yeah. I need that.
Yeah,
I
That's awesome.
the palatability is amazing.
It is.
We provide samples for that. It's both of them, the kibble and the freeze-dried raw. Put the amount of cups in the bag on the outside of the bag, so your customers know. I know a lot of other kibbles do that. Yeah, so your customers will actually be able to figure out what they're getting out of this, what the value is. So, and I think some of the other raw foods are finally starting to follow that, but a lot of the kibbles still don't to this day put the amount of cups in the bag. So that's a good thing for your customers to know. They give how. Rewatering, not rewatering, what am I thinking?
Reconstituting?
Reconstituting.
Yeah.
I was trying to say the dumbed down version, I guess.
No, you're good.
Yeah, reconstituting. So they'll give you instructions on that, how much water you need to put with it. You don't have to put water with it, but we just think rehydrating. That's what I was trying to say.
Moisture.
Moisture.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good to have moisture on it, so we do recommend that. But if like you miss it one time, you happen to have to run out the door, and you just need to scoop and pour it, you can do it. It's not going to kill the dog. Bless you. Cats can eat this as well. It's not a full, complete balanced diet for a cat, so don't sell it as that. It does have, it's because it doesn't have added taurine into it. It does have taurine because it has the meat, bone, and organ in there. But it's just technically we can't sell it as that because you have to have added taurine. So I wouldn't sell it as a full meal for them. But we know like Liz's cats love it. They ate through one of the bags to get it. So you can break them up because of that. It's a really nice way to feed it to your cat as well. She did say that like you can. Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
She did say like if you want to like supplement 30% of their diet with this, you can.
With a cat.
With a cat, yeah. But I wouldn't sell it as a cat diet. I would just sell it as a cat treat.
I was wondering if you wanted to give it to a cat. Like, is there something you could add to like just
taurine? So you sardines? Sardines or some other things that you can add that have taurine. So yeah, if you just did that, then you could just feed it to your cat. Yeah, it's got that high protein, so it's a good way, especially for cats. I mean, they need, like some of our other ones, I think we represent Northwest Naturals, that's like 97% meat and organ, right? And compared to their dogs, like 80%. So the cats don't really need a lot of that fruits and vegetables. So, but yeah, with cats, definitely you want to rehydrate that food because they are definitely dehydrated animal, much more than even dogs are.
Yeah.
So anytime you can get anything wet into them, this is a good thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
And a great one to kind of rehydrate it with would be if you have any customers that are feeding the goat's milk. That is such a good thing to rehydrate raw with is any of the goat's milk or anything like that. It's great for them.
Now I just give my dog the freeze dried, well my little dog.
Yeah.
The freeze dried, but then I give her the goat's milk separately because she likes it on her.
She likes it separate.
Well, she plays with the toy. To
Oh.
Food out, you know.
Yeah.
She doesn't like to eat her food out of the bowl.
Okay,
So I have to
okay.
feed it.
Oh, that's
She doesn't
awesome.
like drink her milk separately.
No, that's great. However she likes it.
Yeah.
So last thing we're talking about is the cans. Rawbble cans are going to go up, similar to the kibble side in the sense that you got the high protein. It's going to be grain-free, potato-free. There's no carrageenan or guar gum or anything like that that's going to gum up your system or cause cancer down in the long run. Uses agar-agar as your gelling agent within there. So just a very healthy can. Again, that limited ingredient diet, very high protein. It's a seamless rotation between the cans as well. And we're doing a buy 3 get 1 free for your 30-day promos on that. Again, that's on your frequent buyer in Astro, and actually the freeze dried's on the frequent buyer as well.
It is.
Is there a promo on the freeze dried?
The freeze dried was buy a medium bag and a small bag free.
Okay.
And so again, yeah, it's not going on right now. It looks like, but that is something that I think she has for several more promos. So whoever's on the camera, that might be running by the time you see this. Any questions on any of the Rawbble food at all? Like, do you feel like you can sell this better now that I've said this, or if I just kind of give you boilerplate stuff that everybody tells you and I haven't said it before?
Where do they?
You can be honest because I'd rather know.
Where do they source the meat?
The meat, so it's going to be
French duck.
Yeah, French duck. The
And
lamb's
then-
going to come from New Zealand.
Yep.
And then your chicken and your pork are going to come from the U.S.
Yes.
Right.
And the beef also is U.S. for the freeze-dried
For
line.
the freeze dried, yeah. We don't do beef and the can and the kibble because the facility that we make those out of, they export, and if you export, the FDA doesn't want you to have beef within that facility. I think down the line that's going to change if we're trying to make a separate location, but for right now, that's just the only reason we don't do beef in the can.
Now, are they like small farms, or what? I mean, or are they like?
I don't actually know that off the top of my head. I think we'll have to do it.
I know all their farms are local to where their facilities are. I remember Todd saying that to me. And they're all family-owned farms, but I'm not sure exactly which farms they are. We could reach out to Todd and get that information for you. Absolutely. Yeah.
Just curious.
Yeah. No, it's good to know. Good question. Yeah.
Anything else?
You don't have a line.
These guys do not have line cat food. We do represent a different line that has cat food. We can talk about that.
Okay.